decided to pick up Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. Tolkien. It's not that hard of a name. I never say his name right. Hey guys, it's Cassara, and today I have for you my weeks 2, 3, and 4 reading vlog. April 7th. I'm feeling a reading slump coming along. This might not be that fun of a vlog, but I've been reading a lot of books. I go a little overboard sometimes with my reading, but I wanted to talk a little bit about my history of that. I felt like the vlog was the best format to do that rather than making a separate video for this. But between like the years of 2012 to 2017, I read perhaps maybe 12 books, like 12 new books during that whole time. I was in like a massive 5-year reading slump during that time. In 2017 is when I found BookTube, and in 2018 was when I really started reading a lot again. January of 2018, I read 15 books, and then 20-something books in February, and it just kept going from there. In October of 2018, I read 31 books in the month of October, which was like the most books I had ever read in a month. And of course, in March, it wasn't even 41 books. That's what I said in my reading wrap-up, was that I read 41 books in March. But I actually finished 3 more books after the wrap-up, still in March. So I ended up reading 44 books in the month of March of this year. It's a lot, it's a little overboard. I feel the slump coming along, particularly audiobooks. Every single audiobook I look at right now, like even ones that I know I want to read. Like my grandmother asked me to tell you she's sorry. Like that's an audiobook I really want to read. I'm just not feeling it right now. The only reason I'm not in like a complete slump is because of these 3 books. We have Abaddon's Gate by James S.A. Corey. I felt the audiobook reading slump coming on the end of last week, and I picked up this audiobook so that I wouldn't be in the slump. And of course, Expanse series, I'm gonna love it. I know it's gonna be a 5-star read for me, or at least close to a 5-star read. So like, I knew I was gonna love it, but I didn't want to pick it up as an audiobook. I only did that because I didn't have any other audiobooks that I really wanted to read at the time. And of course, Ship of Destiny, I've been dragging this one out like crazy because I don't want to finish this series because it's so good. I love the Life of Traitors trilogy. This is the 3rd one in it, and I've been dragging it out because I don't want to finish it. I'm gonna finish it eventually. And then we have Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. This one I've been dragging out a lot more than Ship of Destiny. This one more has been like the cure to my reading slumps. Like every time I start going into a reading slump, I pick up this book and read a chapter of it because it's written almost like a series of short stories. It just gets me back in this world, and I love this world and love George R.R. Martin. So obviously I'm gonna love these. But those are literally the only books I could pick up right now, are books that like I know will be 5 stars. Like every other book I look at, I'm just like, it's such a task to read it at the moment. And I think it's because I've been going too hard for too long. Like it's been a year and 3 months. I do have like deep reading slumps at times. Like last April, I didn't read any books in the month of April. And I feel like it's a thing with April. Like I could just like, I get to April and I don't feel like reading. Maybe it's because it's nice outside or whatever, but I just don't feel like reading. So like, I'm reading those 3 books right now, but I have my unwrapped book this week that I don't even want to pick up. I don't want to pick it up, even though like I should be picking it up. I think the point of this whole talk, I'm gonna slow down on my reading a bit, which is kind of funny because I literally just changed my Goodreads reading goal for the year from 100 books for the year to 240 books. So 240 books would be 20 books a month, which is kind of my average recently. Like I can read 8 physical books and like 20 audiobooks. And if we're going based off of last week, I listened to 3 audiobooks and 1 physical book. That's still 4 books a week, even though it's more audio than physical. So that's still 4 books a week, which would still put me at the 240. I don't think I'm gonna get 4 books this week. Like I cannot see it happening at all. So yeah, so I'm gonna slow down my reading a little bit. So there's a couple things that I'm gonna do in order to do that. I realize my April TBR is super ambitious. I'm definitely not gonna read all those books in April, unless like this only lasts a week, which I seriously doubt. Usually when I feel it this bad, it's gonna be like the entire month or more, possibly more. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read anything else though. Like It's that bad right now. Yesterday, I finished Gregor and the Code of Claw, which was my nighttime rereads. So I ended up deciding to pick up The Wise Man's Fear on audio for my nighttime rereads. Earlier this year, I listened to the audiobook for The Name of the Wind, so I'm on The Wise Man's Fear. I don't know if it was such a good idea, mostly because the whole point of my nighttime rereads is because they're books that I know really well, so when I fall asleep before the sleep timer goes off, I can wake up in the morning and just jump back to the last point that I remember listening to. But with The Wise Man's Fear, I've never actually reread this book before, so this is the first time rereading the book, so I don't know the book as well as some of my other ones. Like, for example, the Harry Potter series, I know that book so well, like, I could jump back to any point in it, and I know exactly where the plot of the story is going on. And with The Wise Man's Fear, I don't remember it quite so well, like, or really at all. Like, I remember like 2 or 3 things about The Wise Man's Fear. So I had a bit of trouble this morning jumping back because I didn't, like last night, I guess I was really tired or something because I fell asleep really soon. I listened to like about half an hour this morning just like trying to find out where I left off, and turns out I listened to more than I thought I did. I'm doing The Wise Man's Fear. It's a 43-hour audiobook at like half an hour a night or even an hour at night. It's gonna take me into May. So after The Wise Man's Fear, I will start with The Eye of the World. So I will be doing probably the entire Wheel of Time series, which will probably take me through, if we're being honest, the rest of the year. I'm not gonna have a whole lot of like audiobook rereads at night once I start the Wheel of Time series, which is why I decided to do The Wise Man's Fear now. It's Tuesday, April 9th. I figured it was time that I did an update for you guys on my reading for the week. It's not going well, mostly because I just have no desire to pick up any books right now, audiobooks, physical books, anything. Like, when I do pick up a book and start reading, I do really well and I enjoy what I'm doing at the time. I just don't have a desire to actually sit down and read right now. Or even like when I'm at work, usually I can listen to an audiobook while I do my work. Recently, I've just kind of been sitting in silence. I have made a little bit of progress in Zeros by Scott Westerfield. So this is my unwrapped book for the week. I did pick up the audiobook for this one, and surprisingly, I do enjoy it whenever I pick up the audiobook. I think this is a very well written book. I completely understand why people like Scott Westerfield. The characters are very interesting. The way he does superpowers is interesting in comparison to the way other authors and producers do superpowers. So I think this is a really interesting book. I think a lot of people will like this book. I'm just not interested in superpowered children right now, like, or teens or whatever. I'm just not interested in anything. So like, it's my fault completely for being in a reading slump why I'm not more excited about this book. Like I feel like I should be excited about this book because it's actually really well done. The content just doesn't interest me though. All I really want is to like dive into another high fantasy book, which I have Ship of Destiny, which I should be reading, but I always hesitate going into Ship of Destiny because I'm in a reading slump. So if I don't like it, it's probably gonna be because of the slump and I wanna like it, but it's possible that Ship of Destiny can take me out of the reading slump. So I don't know. I'll probably read that, maybe not, we'll see. Yeah, it's been a really weird week so far. Hopefully by tomorrow or Thursday, I'll be like starting coming out of that slump and I'll have more updates for you guys.
So it's Friday, April 12th. I'm being lazy to get my tripod out right now, so I'm just holding my phone up. I hope the framing is okay. I haven't read anything this week. Like, up until a second ago, I hadn't read anything this week, except for like my last update, whatever it was. I believe it was Zeros by Scott Westerfield, which I've decided to put my unwrapped book challenge on hold until I finish my book ban challenge. There's like just too many challenges at once and I'm in a reading slump, so it's not working out. So until my book ban is over, I'm gonna stop with the unwrapped challenge and try and finish the book ban challenge, which the video is coming out soon for that one, or would actually be out before this vlog, my bad. And yeah, I have not been reading this week. It's bad. I did make a little bit of progress on Abaddon's Gate by James S.A. Corey. I read about 3 chapters just now, and it's really good, and I'm enjoying it. I don't feel like reading. I don't feel like reading at all, and it's hard. I'm having trouble like picking up my 5-star predictions. Can you imagine me trying to pick up some unwrapped books right now? It's not good. I think it's Game of Thrones. Like, I'm excited for Game of Thrones. That's why I can't read anything else right now, so I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I'm going to try and finish a book by the end of tomorrow so that I'll have at least 1 book read this week. My goal is usually 2 books a week. My average is 6 books a week, so I usually average a lot more than my goal. I'm not gonna meet my goal or my average this week, so we'll see how it goes.
It's Saturday, April 13th, and as you guys know, I've been in a reading slump kind of all week. So I decided that I wanted to try and start a couple of other books just so I have a little bit more of a wide range of books to read. Partially because the only high fantasy I'm reading right now is Ship of Destiny, which it's high fantasy, but it's very character-driven high fantasy. It's not plot-driven. The only plot-driven book that I'm reading right now is Abaddon's Gate, which is all well and good. Like, I want to read Abaddon's Gate, but it's not high fantasy, and I really wanted to read like a good plot-driven high fantasy. So I decided to pick up another audiobook because I didn't really want to read Abaddon's Gate on audio. I just picked it up because it was the only audiobook that I had that looked good at the time. So I decided to pick up a different audiobook. I picked up My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. I have the audiobook for this. It's alone on the library. I do have the physical book, so I will follow along with the physical book a little bit, but it's gonna be like my main audiobook for right now. So far, I'm really, really liking it. I really, really love the grandmother in this book. I love the grandmother in this book. She's fantastic. I love her character, and I can't wait to see what happens with like this quest that's going on, because I just got to that part. I'm like right here. So I just got to the part where her grandmother has already passed away, and so far I really, really like it. That being said, this is not a book that like pulls me to like sit down all day and read it. Like, it's more of one of those where I could just like listen to it when I have time to, which is probably the best way for me to read this book anyway. So I'm excited for this one, and probably won't be finishing it for a little while, but really, really excited for it and really enjoying it so far. I also decided to pick up Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. The reason why I decided to pick up this one, because I wanted a high fantasy that was more action-packed, and I feel like this one's gonna be action-packed. I don't know if it is. I just feel like this one's gonna be like pretty action-packed, which is why I decided to pick up this one. There are several other high fantasies that are on my list that I was considering, but this is the only one that was actually a 5-star prediction for me. It was more of like a, I'm not sure if it's gonna be a 5 stars or not, but it was the closest one to a 5-star prediction. Most of the other ones I think I'm gonna enjoy, but I think they're only gonna be 4.5 stars, and this one I'm pretty sure could possibly be 5 stars for me. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I have pretty high expectations for high fantasy books, but like with this one, I don't have as high expectations. I don't know, maybe because it's a hype book, I don't know. Anyways, I started reading it. I read the first chapter, so I'm right there. I've actually listened to the audiobook of this first chapter before, and I really didn't like the audiobook of the first chapter because it can be very confusing, because it goes between like 2 different times, one where she's losing her virginity and another one where she's killing a man, and it's like very similar in setting and stuff, and he uses like a lot of the same phrases for both of the different scenes, and it like goes between them. So in the audiobook, it's confusing. In the physical book though, it's kind of brilliant, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I actually really like his writing style in Nevernight, so I'm excited for this one. And this one, like, I want to know what happens. I really want to know what happens. So I feel like this one could really help me get out of the reading slump. So I'm excited for this one, and hopefully I can get into a pretty good chunk of it today. It's Sunday, April 21st, and if you guys have been keeping track, it's been about 2 weeks, and I haven't read anything in about 2 weeks. Yesterday, though, I started reading again. I should have known. I should have known that Ship of Destiny would be the book that broke me out of this reading slump. I am vlogging this one separately, so you guys will get to see a vlog of this one later. I am officially out of the reading slump, at least for now. We'll see how this goes. But between yesterday and today, I've read this much of the book. That's like 300 something pages I read in like about 12 hours. And I slept during that time too. So definitely really enjoying this right now. Super, super happy to be out of the reading slump. And hopefully I'll start getting to some of the other books that I had planned to read this month, because so far this month has been kind of a complete fail. But so far, this one going really, really good. It's Monday, April 22nd. I just finished Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. Absolutely, absolutely loved it. Of course, you guys know I love this book. I haven't decided between a 5 and 4.5 stars. There were some things that kind of disappointed me a little bit. This is vlogged separately, so you can check out that vlog if you want to see those things. Still really, really good. Either 5 or 4.5 stars. Overall, really, really love this series. Definitely one of my favorites. So at work today, I'm gonna try and continue on with Abaddon's Gate by James S. A. Corey. I have the audiobook for this for 3 more days, and I prefer not to listen to the audiobooks for these. I prefer to read them like physically, just because they move so quickly. I don't really have a choice while I'm at work. I have to listen to the audiobook, and I'm still kind of like in that slumpy sort of mood where I'm not sure exactly how much I'll enjoy what I'm reading. Like, half the reason I'm not sure if I should give Ship of Destiny 4.5 stars is because of the reading slump. I don't know if it's just me as being in a reading slump that I'm thinking that, and if I wasn't in a reading slump, I would want to give it 5 stars. I don't know. I probably would want to give it 5 stars. There's very few books right now that I'm actually feeling to read at all. This is one of them, so that's why I'm gonna listen to the audiobook for this one rather than just picking up a random audiobook that I'm not as interested in. So hopefully I can get into this one as much as I was into Ship of Destiny this week, because I want to get back into reading. I don't want to be in a slump all month long, so hopefully this will happen. So today, Abaddon's Gate did not quite go as well as I was hoping it would, which I kind of guessed that it wouldn't go that well just because I said this moves a little too fast for audiobooks. It really does. It moves just a little too fast, and the characters I'm just not quite as familiar with as I was like in Ship of Destiny, so it just takes more brain power to listen to this one than it would Ship of Destiny, and it wasn't really working for me. Also, sci-fi is not necessarily my best genre. Like, it's not my go-to. I don't really reach for sci-fi that often. I've made kind of an exception for the Expanse series just because I love the Expanse series so much so far. Even though it's a 5-star prediction, my reading slump is not giving me the best for this book, and I realized I can actually renew that audiobook. So I'm gonna renew the audiobook, and I will wait a little bit longer to continue on with Abaddon's Gate just because I'm not in the right mood for it quite yet. Instead, I've decided to try Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I started this about a week ago now, and I've only read the first chapter. I've only read chapter 1, and I have the audiobook for it, so I can continue it tomorrow when I go to work. And it's high fantasy, which is like my go-to. Like, when I'm in a reading slump, I will read high fantasy. I've never read Jay Kristoff before, so I don't know if I'll like his work as much as some other authors, but I'm willing to give him a shot. And the other couple that I had on my TBR for this month are harder, I assume, to read than this one will be. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this one tonight, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'll like it. I've heard that the plot in this one's really good, which a good fast-paced plot will be like perfect for a reading slump. So I'm hoping that's what happens here. I did consider continuing on with The Realm of the Elderlings, but the next book that I'm supposed to read in that series is Assassin's Quest, which is the 3rd book in the Farseer trilogy, which I should have read before the Live Ship Traders, but come on, it's the Live Ship Traders. I wanted to read that one first, and I wanted to listen to the audiobook of that one. I do have the physical book, so I can continue on with the physical book, but I really wanted to listen to the audiobook of that one just because the way Robin Hobb writes, and she reads like very character-focused stories, which are just really well done on audio. Like, they work really well on audio. While I do like reading her books physically, and I will probably end up reading probably the rest of the series as physical books rather than as audiobooks. For that one, I really wanted to do all of the Farseer trilogy on audio, and I had to return the audiobook, and I'm not going to get it again for another 4 weeks. It will be a little while before I continue on with The Realm of the Elderlings, but I will definitely be doing that. If I start like really wanting to continue on, I might just continue on as a physical book, but for now, we're gonna wait until I get the audiobook for that one, and I'll continue on then in 4 weeks' time. Until then, we're gonna do Nevernight, and we'll see how this goes. And I have made quite a bit of progress on Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. Right there now, so about a third of the way into the book. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I'm definitely still in a reading slump because sometimes like I'm really into it. I'm just like, oh, this is really good. And then other times I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. But I just got to a part, I heard that this book was similar to Arya's plot in Game of Thrones. It's very similar to Arya's plot in Game of Thrones. I thought it was just gonna be like the fact that Arya trains as an assassin and as a strong female character, but like a girl is no one. Like, that is just what comes to mind for the part that I just read. It's too similar for my taste. Just way too similar for my taste. So I like it, but I don't care. I don't know. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully the plot picks up just a bit. I really hope the plot picks up because right now it's not really holding my attention. Like, my attention wanders really easily. I also really don't like the audiobook for this. So I have the audiobook. I've been kind of listening to the audiobook and going back and forth between the physical book and the audiobook, mostly because when I'm at work, I have to listen to audio. I can't read the physical book. And I don't like the narrator for the audiobook. I think part of it is just like the main character here is female and the audiobook narrator is male. And I do understand, like, the narrator of the book is not Mia, who is the main character of the book, but it's still, it irks me. Like, even if it's not Mia that's narrating, like, they could have had a female narrator. I don't know. Maybe we find out that the narrator is male at the end of the book or something. I don't know. I don't really like the audiobook because of that, and I just don't like the audiobook narrator in general. I have made progress in it, so that's always good. Considering the last 2 weeks, I didn't read like pretty much anything till this Sunday, I'm gonna take that as a win. Hey guys, it's Thursday, April 25th, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm struggling with Nevernight right now. So I'm right there now, and I have a lot of thoughts. Like, I'm 27 chapters in now. So when I first started reading this, I mentioned that I like the writing style. That was after chapter 1. And I did really, really like the writing style in chapter 1. Not so much the jumping footnotes or anything like that. I really like the detail that the author put into it because it created specific images. I like detail and like more flowery language as long as it creates interesting imagery that I can just picture in my head as I'm reading. I love that. Problem is, later on, the detail continues, but the detail is more vague, and I don't really get the images quite as well as I did in chapter 1. Like, for instance, there is a section here where there's a masquerade, and the people at the masquerade are described as being dipped in gold, which dipped in something makes me think of ice cream, like the chocolate covered ice cream cones that are dipped in chocolate, and then like they have that chocolate shell. I kind of imagine the people like with the gold shell around them. That's the image dipped in gold gives me. And I don't think that is what the author meant by that. I'm pretty sure he meant like they were wearing gold rings or gold dresses or, you know, gold jewelry, something opulent, but not like literally covered in gold. So like, it was being vague, using flowery language to portray something, but that portrayal was so vague that I didn't actually get a specific image from it, which bothers me. And that's just one example of it. That's just one particular example of it. It gets more vague, I feel like. The imagery gets more vague throughout the novel afterwards, after that like first chapter. So I don't really like the writing style as much as I did when I first started reading it. Also, I've been having a lot of trouble with suspension of disbelief in this one. There are just like certain tropes I feel like that it tries to break. Little tiny tropes. Like, for example, this is based in assassin school. That's the setting for this novel. Now, assassin schools in fantasy have had tropes associated with those assassin schools. Like, for example, assassins are really only as useful as far as you can control them. Once the assassin starts killing people that you don't tell them to kill, they're no longer useful and generally are put down. There is a section here where someone is killed that wasn't supposed to be killed, and it's almost like they're rewarded for doing it. Not quite, but it's almost like that, and it's just kind of like, what? No, that doesn't make any sense. Now, if they had established earlier on in the book that they would be rewarded for killing people, sure, that's fine. They don't establish that early on in the book. They establish that it's against the rules. So I expect them to be punished gravely for it. There's just certain like parts of it that I don't believe would happen the way that it happens in the book, and it's just a little outrageous for me. There's another section where like there's much worse crimes are given like 50 lashes, and then sneaking out of bed is given like 100 lashes, which, you know, like it doesn't make sense. Like, it didn't establish that sneaking out of bed is the worst possible crime someone could do. There's just things about it that doesn't work for me. Also, the romance. There's a romance in this book, and you guys know I like a good romantic subplot. Problem is, I like a good romantic subplot. If the romance is working for me, it drives me into the book, and I get so deeply engrossed in the book, and I really, really love books that with a good romantic subplot. If the romance is not working for me, I just want to cut it out. Like, I just want to get to the point. Like, destroy that romance. I don't want it if it's not working for me. And the romance in this book, I don't feel it. I don't feel any connection between the two characters, and it's not working for me. So yeah, that's how I feel about this book right now. Honestly, I don't hate it though. Like, yes, I'm finding problems with it, But I honestly don't know if I'm finding the problems because I legitimately have problems with this book, or if it's because of my reading slump just questioning everything. Because otherwise, it's good, like it's fine. Most of what I've read in here though, it's not like earth-shattering, if you know what I mean. Like Assassin's School, like that's a trope that happens all the time. The main character Mia is, you know, that like strong female character with a hard backstory. Like there's nothing like super unique about her. Like that sort of character happens all the time in high fantasy and in grimdark fantasy. And so far, I haven't really found anything about this book that stands out as particularly unique. Overall though, it's a good book, like it's fine. So far in my head, it's about 3.5 stars. I've heard the ending is really good though, so I'm really hoping that there's a plot twist coming up that'll push it over to the 4-star range. That's my hope for this book right now. I know it was a 5-star prediction for me. I really don't see it getting the 5 stars right now, from me at least. But it could potentially still be a 4 to 4.5 star book for me. So right now it's a 3.5 star, but I'm hoping the ending is really, really good because I tend to like endings a lot. I do plan on reading the second book in this series, not just because I already have it, but because like I like this world and I like these characters enough that I do want to see what happens with them after this book is done. Like, it's a very interesting world. I like the idea of this world. I want more detail, specific detail about this world. So, like, the fact that I don't like the writing style that much also kind of propels me to read the next book just because I want more from this world. Like, it's very interesting the way it was constructed, and I want to see more of it, if that makes sense. So, yes, I like it, but I found quite a few problems in it that keep just, like, taking me out of the story and annoying me. But overall, so far I'm still enjoying it. Abaddon's Gate by James S.A. Corey. I know, this is a bit of a surprise because I didn't like vlog any of it. And the last time I was talking to you guys, I was talking about Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, which I liked, but I was having some problems with. I never have problems with the Expanse series though, so I decided to switch to the Expanse series, and it was so good. Once you get into one of these books, like, it doesn't stop. It's just like action-packed the entire way through, and this one is like probably one of my favorites. I think this is my favorite one in the entire series, actually. Yeah, I would so far. I've only 3 books in, so this is the 3rd book. This one was definitely better than Caliban's War, which is the 2nd book. I think it's around on the same level as Leviathan Wakes, which is the 1st book in this series. But really, really enjoyed it. And the ending, oh my gosh, the ending makes me want to read the 4th one so bad. Like, I'm so excited for the 4th one, Chibola Burn. I have a lot of other books that I wanted to read before I got to the 4th book. I wasn't supposed to start the 4th book until next month. I might start it early, even though there's like only a few days left in this month. And there were a lot of other books that I had planned to read in April, but because of the reading slump, I didn't get around to it. I still really want to read Chibola Burn. I've heard Chibola Burn is the best book in the entire series so far. And I can see why, just from what I've seen is coming from Abaddon's Gate, Chibola Burn just sounds like it would be the best book in the entire series. So I want to read it. I really, really want to read it. But it's one of those where I know if I pick it up, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to read it all the way through, which is why I borrowed the audiobook. I don't have a whole lot of time to actually sit down and read, but after I stop physically reading, in between the times I'm physically reading, I can pick up the audiobook, which is what I did with Abaddon's Gate, which is why I finished it in 2 days. One day. It was more than 2 days. But my point is, really, really good, and I cannot wait for the 4th book in this series. Cannot wait for it. I might be picking up soon, but there are a lot of other books that I want to finish first. Chief among them is, of course, Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I forgot when I switched to Abaddon's Gate that Nevernight, the audiobook, was expiring yesterday. So obviously, I have the physical book, so it's not that big of a deal. But it might take me longer to finish. It's not that much left in it. I could probably finish this one today as well. Maybe not today, tomorrow, maybe. Hopefully I'll like it better than the first half of this. There are a few other books that I do want to get to. I have My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. and I'm still kind of at the beginning of this one. I really like it so far though. I really like the grandmother. I like where this is going. The audiobook for this one did expire though, so I don't have the audiobook for it anymore. So I'll probably just read it physically from now on, but that's to say with Nevernight. So I don't know which one I'm gonna get to first. Probably Nevernight just because I'm much further into it. I do have to pick up a new audiobook. I'm really tempted to pick up Cibola Burn and just start listening to Cibola Burn. But there's a few other audiobooks that I currently have that loans are gonna expire soon that I need to pick up. So the one that's kind of on the top of my list that I said I would read after Nevernight, not after Abaddon's Gate, because I hadn't planned to read Abaddon's Gate quite yet because I had renewed the loan. But the one that I was supposed to read next is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I only have like 5 days left on the loan and I haven't started it yet, so I should probably get to that one. And then I also have two other books that I really wanted to read. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I got the audiobook for that one also, and A Closed in Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. So A Closed in Common Orbit is the second book in the Wayfarers trilogy, and the third one I'm going to be reading next month for the BookTube SFF Award read-alongs. So I want to read, I want to finish The Closed in Common Orbit first, which I actually did start a little bit, but then my loan ended and I had to place a hold on it again. So I have it again. So those are kind of like the 4 audiobooks that you're gonna see in the rest of this month, and maybe Cibola Burn, because yeah. Oh, I did want to show you guys something. This guy popped up in the mail a couple of days ago. I did not order this recently. You guys know I'm on a big buying ban, so I didn't order it. I ordered it last year. It was a pre-order when the book first came out from the book depository, and like literally the book became unavailable right after that. Like it said it would be available in October, was not available in October. So I pretty much thought like I had canceled this order and that I just wasn't getting the book. So I listened to Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. That's what this book is. I listened to it on audio and I thought I was fine. Like I didn't need to order the book after that. And then it just showed up this month. So yeah, I got another book. I don't know if I like this cover. I like my Vicious cover a lot better. It's all right though. So that's all I have for you guys now, and I will talk to you later. I'm back, guys. So it's still Friday, by the way. I started Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I finished Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. It's about a fictional rock band from the 70s, and it's told in interview style, so it's very similar to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in that way. It's told in like the same sort of format, except Evelyn Hugo, you actually get to like see and feel Evelyn from like a character's perspective. In this sense, it's just their voices that you're hearing. I actually really liked that about it. Also, I listened to it on audiobook, so it just felt really organic that way, and it was just so compelling. Like I found myself stopping what I was doing just to listen to this audiobook because I couldn't tear myself away from it. It was so good. I really loved it. There were just like some things about it that I felt like I wanted more of an emotional impact from, but at the same time, the climax and that part, not quite the ending, but like it kind of just tears your heart out, if you know what I mean. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. That's 2 books in one day. I think if you finish 2 books in one day, you're officially out of a reading slump. I did start another book after I finished Daisy Jones and the Six because I need another audiobook. I decided to pick up The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've been wanting to listen to the audiobook for this one for a while. Like I finished The Two Towers I think last month, and after I finished The Two Towers, like I wanted to pick up Return of the King right away. I wanted to pick it up right away, but I couldn't because Scribe said I had to wait until like the 3rd of April or something like that, and it was like 2 weeks away at the time, and I was really angry about it because I had only listened to like 2 audiobooks that month, so I couldn't. I was just really angry with Scribe because my library does not have the version of Return of the King that I wanted to listen to. So I came very close to shelling out Audible credits to get Return of the King, but then I just decided not to, and I would wait until this month to listen to Return of the King. Came to this month, and then I went into a reading slump and never got to it. So like, I'm so glad to finally get to this one. I've listened to the first 2 chapters. Like I'm right there in the book now. Really enjoying it. I love the audiobooks, by the way, the unabridged audiobooks for The Lord of the Rings, because there are like dramatized versions, which I did not like, which is the ones that my library has and why I haven't listened to these audiobooks previously. But Scribd does have the unabridged versions, which are really good. I'm really excited to get further into this one. I just started this like an hour ago, not even a whole hour ago. That being said, I do have time to read a book physically, which I can continue on with Return of the King physically because obviously I had the physical book, but for Return of the King I really wanted to listen to the audiobook for this one just because I love the Two Towers audiobook so much. I think I'll finally get back to Nevernight. I have about 100 pages left in Nevernight to finish it, and I've heard the ending's really good, so I'm excited for it. I'm hoping I'm gonna like it. This month has been kind of really weird because if I finished Nevernight today, then I would have finished 3 books in one day, even though before today, I had only finished a total of 5 books this month. Yeah, it's a weird month. It's a weird month, but I'm happy to be out of this slump. So I finished Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, and I'm gonna go with 3.5 stars. That's what I was going with before the last 100 pages, and the last 100 pages really didn't change anything for me. The plot is really good. I like the plot. I don't like how the plot is constructed, if that makes sense. It feels like it's trying too hard to be shocking. And the actual story is shocking, but the way it's written is a little over the top, in my opinion. And it just takes me out of the story every single time. I know that a plot twist is coming because the narrator makes it really obvious that a plot twist is coming. And it's annoying. It's like really, really annoying. I prefer to be like surprised by plot twists, or if I see a plot twist coming, like I prefer to either be surprised that there's a plot twist there because I'm not expecting a plot twist, or even if I see a plot twist coming, surprised by the outcome of the plot twist. But here, one, I wasn't surprised by the outcomes of the plot twist, really at all. And I also wasn't surprised by the plot twist happening. And it wasn't just one, there was like multiple that I'm talking about specifically. I just, like, it was good, but it was too obvious that it was gonna happen without actually having any foreshadowing of what was gonna happen, if that makes sense. I'd rather be surprised that there is a plot twist rather than surprised by the outcome of the plot twist, if that makes sense. I feel like I just repeated myself like 100 times. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments what you think about plot twists, because I'm like very particular about my plot twists. Like, they have to be good for me to stand behind them. And the plot twists honestly are good. I just felt like there wasn't enough foreshadowing for them, and there was too much foreshadowing that there was a plot twist, but not enough foreshadowing for what the actual content of the plot twist was. I think that makes sense. I also really wanted to like the romance in here, but I never quite got there. Like, I wanted to get there. I wanted to look for things that would make me like the romance in here, but I never quite got there. I got really, really close once, but not quite there. So yeah. So 3.5 stars, like, I still really enjoyed it. I definitely still plan on continuing on with the series. I feel like there's a lot of great potential in this book, like especially with the world building. There's a lot of great world building with the physical world as well as like the culture and the magic. Like, all of this is really interesting to me, and I want to dive deeper into this world because I think it's really interesting. I also really do like our main character, Mia Corvera, so like there's a lot about this book that I really enjoyed, but just the way the plot was constructed made it a little bit frustrating for me, if that makes sense. 3 books in one day, like, that's pretty good. I don't think that's a record. Like, I think I've done more than that before, but still, that's really good, especially considering this month has been horrible for my reading. I'm gonna take that as a win. So it's Saturday, April 27th, and after I finished Nevernight yesterday, I've just been in a high fantasy mood. So my physical book right now is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman, which is not fantasy, but it has enough references that it continually reminds me that it's not fantasy. So I was having trouble with it. It's a good book, don't get me wrong. I'm just not in the mood for it right now. I just wanted to dive into another high fantasy. So I decided to pick up Priority of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I figured I'm over the reading slump. It's time to dive into something big. And this one was on my TBR for April, which I really did want to get to it. Like, I would have read this before Nevernight if I wasn't in a reading slump. I picked up Nevernight because I wanted something that was definitely fast-paced that I can get through quickly. This one obviously is not going to be a quick book. Like, I don't plan on finishing it this month because there's like 3 days left in the month and it's ginormous, but I'm actually really enjoying it so far. Like, I didn't know if I would enjoy it. This is one of those books that I was really hesitant to pick up because I've seen a lot of really great reviews from it, but also I've seen a lot of not so good reviews of it from people that like I trust, that I have similar tastes to. But at the same time, the way this book is marketed and everything, like I should love everything about this book. It's like all the tropes that I would want from a high fantasy book. So I'm surprised, but I am enjoying it so far. I'm only 2 chapters in, so I'm right there, like barely any of the book. So I'm like literally at the very beginning still. And what was worrying me the most about it was the writing style. I've never read a book by Samantha Shannon before, and I've heard people actually commenting on the writing style for this one in particular, which most people don't even care. Like, I'm very particular about writing style, but most readers on BookTube don't care at all about writing style. So that's what really had me hesitating, which there are some parts of the writing style that are just kind of like, huh? What? Like, for example, one of the characters says, "I've never clapped eyes on this guy before," or this other character that shows up. And it's just kind of like, clapped eyes on. Like, how do you clap eyes? You clap hands, not eye. Like, that. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, this is what I get for being so particular about writing. But like, seriously, like, you don't clap eyes. It's not possible to clap eyes. It doesn't make any sense. But like, it's like little things like that that you can kind of just skip over and ignore, in my opinion. Otherwise, I don't really have that much of an issue with the writing style. Like, it's really easy to read. It flows from a character point of view to the next character point of view in a way that's really easy to follow and easy to understand. So far, like, I don't find this difficult to read, even though, like, I was kind of expecting it to be difficult to read because that's, like, how everyone's painting it. But so far, it's pretty good. Like I said, only 2 chapters in, so I will definitely be reading more of it, and I will let you know more of my thoughts on it later. Other than that, I have made quite a bit of progress with Return of the King. It's good. It's so good. I feel like I'm watching a movie while I'm listening to the audiobook. It makes me so excited. I want to rewatch the movies. Like, I haven't seen the movies since I was a child, so I really, really want to rewatch the movies now after seeing it. I think the other thing that's making me excited is the 3rd episode of Game of Thrones is coming out tomorrow, and it's supposed to be like Battle of Helm's Deep good, which is from the Two Towers, not the Return of the King. It makes me like, just all of it combined makes me want to rewatch the Lord of the Rings movies. So I think when I finish this book, I'm gonna like binge watch the movies or something. I don't own them, so I'm gonna have to get them, but I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. So yeah, that's where I am there. And that's why I'm like in such a high fantasy mood, because like between Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and like I just finished Nevernight, I wanted more high fantasy in my life, which is why I decided to go with Priority of the Orange Tree. So glad about it this reading slump. So glad. Sunday, April 28th, and last night I finished The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I loved it. It was really, really good. It was very different than I remember the movie being. Because, like, the ending in the movie, I feel like happened at the halfway point in the book, which was surprising to me, or at least the ending that I remember in the movie. Mind you, I watched these movies when I was a child, so like I don't remember the movies that much because I watched them a really long time ago. Did really enjoy the book. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars just because like after like the movie ending, there was a big part that dragged so much till you got to like the actual ending, and then it was like, okay, the ending's good. It's a good ending, but I felt like it dragged a lot in between. Even though the ending dragged, I kind of liked that it was that long, if that makes sense. It just felt like he was giving back to these characters, letting us see their backstory. I think if I had liked, you know, Lord of the Rings as much as I like, say, like Harry Potter, then I would have really loved that ending. Like,
If Harry Potter had an ending that was this long, like half a book long, I would have loved it. With Lord of the Rings, I was kind of okay with like a little bit of a shorter ending. Like there's a big chunk of it that I was just kind of like, there's all these side characters that we really don't get to know or anything like that. Even though like I realize a lot of people do like these side characters. I'm just not one of them. Like I like our main characters. I love Frodo and Sam and Gimli and Legolas and Aragorn. But there are other side characters that we really don't get to see in text that much because like it's so short, but they get like big endings, if that makes sense. So I liked that it had a big ending, but at the same time, there was just like parts of it that got wrapped up that I was just like, didn't really care about. But still, masterpiece, like total masterpiece. Absolutely loved it. Smeagol is definitely still my favorite character. Love Smeagol, though Samwise is really good too. Really, really like Sam. I also made quite a bit of progress on Priority of the Orange Tree. I did not finish it because I started it yesterday, and there was no way I was going to finish an 800+ page book in one day. But I did get like 100 and something pages into it, so I'm on chapter 12 now. I am actually really liking it so far. I guess it'll depend on how all of the setups pay off, how much I really like it. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I like the world building. I like the characters, which for me, you like the world building and the characters, the plot will come. Like, that's just me. So far I'm really liking it. I hope that that'll continue. I might be able to finish that the next couple of days. I might not. I'll probably end up finishing in May. I did start a new audiobook, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. It's a really short audiobook, so I'm pretty sure I'll finish it over the next couple of days so you guys can hear my thoughts on it in my April wrap up. And I think that's all I have for you guys. It's been a weird month. I did only 2 vlogs instead of my normal 4, so I hope you guys aren't disappointed. I'm back on the reading train. Reading train? Is that a thing? Apparently it is. I'm just glad that I'm over the reading slump now because the last few days have been fantastic. If you guys have read any of these books, I'd love to hear your opinions on them in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.